You know, I'm very interested in hearing people's thoughts. If if you properly, let's say you have a customer base and you properly tune their systems, you properly adjust the systems and keep them so, wouldn't it happen when there is a big load on those systems? You're not going to have the big drama that you normally do by not. So I'm just wondering if that's the case. So in essence, if you use the iManifold technology and you get everyone properly charged, proper airflow, proper everything, so when the heat does come, you don't have the breakdowns, and therefore you don't end up chasing your tail all the time. I don't know if would be the case or not.
Oh, absolutely, Bill, because when the system's charged properly, you've got your airflow adjusted out correctly.
Yeah,
It's the same as your refrigerator at home.
right.
When everything's right and the charge is right and everything's balanced out and it's running properly, you're not going to have to run back and forth when the season changes,
Right.
like on a heat pump system. Heat
Yeah.
pump systems, they're sensitive to charge, whether it's in heat mode or cooling mode. So when the system's charged up properly in the first place, there's no coming back out. Oh, your system's overcharged, your system's undercharged. Because if you charge it right under load and everything's right, it'll be fine. Whether it's spring, summer, winter, or fall, because it's all the same thing.
There'll be a compressor, a fan that goes, and condenser, whatever.
Yeah. But see, it's just like a refrigerator. If somebody's using their fridge,
Right.
and everything's right, how many times do you have to crack into your refrigerator or your freezer at home to adjust a charge? You never do. You basically the only time that you're going to mess with that thing is when you're evacuating the system to dump it.
Yep.
Because it's old and it's 20 years old and that fridge is just done for.
Yeah.
Because you never have to adjust any charges or anything like that. So
That's right.
once they're done right, they're done.
All right. Well, I think we'll start now. What do we got? About 3 minutes after. So, well, thank you all for taking your Friday. We appreciate it. And I'm Bill Northrup, North Park Innovations, with Eric Urrutia and Lori there. And Eric's gonna show you a little bit about how to really take advantage of our technology and system so you can make money with it. So, but before I turn over to Eric, a couple of things I'd just like to mention. Number one, this is the last in our summer series of virtual training. We're going to start again in September, and we would like to hear from you either on this chat or email us, or you could go to Tech Talk. And we'd like to know your thoughts on the time of days that's best and what days of the week would be best. Now, by September, things should start cooling down and the rat race will be slowing down a little bit for some of you probably not, but in any event, we'd like to hear from you on that. Also, remember that yesterday in our email blast, we sent out, we have a contest going on that the best picture of you using your technology, iManifold, iConnect, probes, method of mapping and reporting, anything you do that you could get a good photo of us, or of you using the product. We have a $500 gift certificate at our store that we'll give away to the best one. So we'd like you to participate and be a good way to get some good product. So with that,
can I participate in that too?
Yeah.
No, you can't, Eric. You're not allowed to do that.
It left out.
Take it away, you guys.
So with that, Eric, I'll let you take over, and hopefully everybody will, I'm sure they'll get a good benefit out of this. So
all right, Bill, thanks.
There we go.
If you visited with us before, you might know me. If not, my name is Eric Urrutia. I live out here in Arizona, Phoenix. I'm with North Park Innovations, as you know. I've been in this industry for over 25 years now, so I've seen the ins and outs from being a technician in the wholesale end and now the manufacturing side of it. So I've seen a lot of this, as to what we've got going. And today we're going to talk mainly about the ease of the use with the iManifold or iConnect system. There's been some comments around, about the speed of the use. Lots of guys just love it. It's so fast. Some of the others are not so inept to profiling the system, which probably slows them down a little bit. What we're going to concentrate on today is making the most money out of your technicians. If you're a technician, we're going to show you how to speed up your process, make you more valuable to your company. If you're an owner, we're going to show you just what it does as far as the speed of the productivity of your technician. So with that, I'm going to first talk about the setup of the system. When a technician gets out to a job site, rather than pulling out his analog gauges, starts hooking up, gets out his thermometer, dual thermometer to get his suction line, his liquid line temperatures. With our system, you're hooking up your pressures and you're getting your temperatures at the same time, simply by plugging in the thermistors. At the same time, you're hooking up your pressures. Now, mind you, this as well, you don't always have to use every part of the iManifold or iConnect system. If you're simply going after it for pressures and temperatures, you can just hook up pressures and temperatures. If you just want to take a look at your airflow, you can simply use the supply and return probes and get the airflow, the temperature there, and it's as simple as putting in a profile and getting that information. Now I'm going to share my screen right now with you, and I want to show you just how quickly this can be accomplished. Now I hope everybody can see my iManifold screen.
Yep, it looks good, Eric.
We got it all, okay. So what I'm showing you right now is just simply a set of pressures, and there's actually temperatures from supply and return. Now, the issue about connecting up, when somebody's gauging up to a system, everybody has to gauge up to a system. If you're going to take temperatures, you're still going to do it the same way. The only thing additional that you do with an iManifold or an iConnect system is when you're going to attain airside measurements. And those are just simply putting one probe into your supply line and one in your return. And depending upon the situation, the best place to put in your supply temperature probe is probably on the first available register, say in the laundry room or the kitchen. That's where you've got really good supply air coming out. And those are just simply slid in to the duct. You can use several different methods. I mean, I've seen all kinds of different methods. Some guys use a magnet taped to it. You can use this type of an office clip. I've seen that used before. And pretty much any way you want to do it, as long as it's in that line of airflow. Now, this system that I'm showing you on the screen right now is a 410A system. So we've got our pressures, our temperatures, we've got everything shown here. We've got our performance, that's our split. We don't have tonnage, we don't have BTUs, we don't have EER or anything like that. This is just simply what you're reading when you hook up the system, whether it's an iManifold or an iConnect. Now, one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have about the speed of iManifold and iConnect is the profile of the system. And as you can see, the last thing that I worked on up here was a 404A. It was a walk-in. That's simple to change up. Very simple to get a profile in there. This is where your speed is attained, all your calculations, everything, just by a simple couple of buttons that I'm about to push. So the gauging up, the thermistors, that's standard. Everybody does that. Right now, in our upper left-hand corner here, on what we call 3-bar menu or burger menu, we'll open this up, and as you can see, there's quick profiles here. Well, the system that we're working on, that profile is not even in there. This is a 410A 16-SEER heat pump that we're hooked up to. I want to show you just how fast it is to profile a system and keep that profile. So right here on profiling the new system, we're going to select our refrigerant. And I mean, I'm going at this slowly. This is something that can easily be done very fast. Refrigerant, run down the line, select our refrigerant, 410A. This is a heat pump. We're selecting a heat pump in cooling mode. It has a standard TXV. It is a 16 SEER. There's no head pressure controls. The evaporator type is just a standard operation evaporator, which is most every one that you're going to run into. Target superheat and subcooling. These are the defaults that are in the system. And now I'm going to create a quick profile. That is as simple as it gets. The target superheat and subcooling, that's an adjustable number anyway, and you're going to take that off of the nameplate on the system anyway. So this is just a the superheat subcooling that's in here. Those are just defaults. So after I selected quick profile, I submit. It's asking me if I want to create a quick profile, which I do. I'm going to say yes. We've gone through this before on the profiling training. I can either name it myself or I can use auto name. I'm going to be using this on several different units, so I'm going to use auto name. And as you can see right up here on the top, 13 to 16 SEER, heat pump, in cooling mode, TXV. And as you can see, when we got all started up, we've got everything going. Here's our pressure targets, our superheat and our subcooling. This is actually what we have here. 10.8 and then 16.3. Obviously, we're out of range over here on our subcooling. But now taking a look at this, our profile's set. All of our calculations are there for that. We still do not have any airflow because we didn't put in a tonnage. Tonnage of the system is very simple. You take a look, what are we working with? This is a 3, 4, 5 ton unit. We go up in here to our 3-bar menu again, open it up, go down to measurements. Tap measurements, airflow and nominal tonnage. There's our nominal tonnage. This particular system is a 5-ton unit. So right here in nominal tonnage, we tap in 5. And then our lovely submit button that we all know, if you've ever been on any of these trainings, that's your best friend, is that submit button. When you put in any information, always hit submit. And boom, there you go. Now, I don't know how it can get any simpler. You have all of your measurements, all of your targets, everything is calculated for you. So if you just take the time and see how long it takes you to actually put your pressure taps on, put your hoses on, which on an iConnect, your hoses are only 6 inches long, so there's very minimal refrigerant loss. On the iManifold, using the iManifold, you have your choice of hoses, whether you use 3, 4, 5, 6 foot hoses, whatever your choice is. It's the same way, just like you're hooking up a standard manifold. So using the system with all this information that it's calculating for you, it's so much easier to get your job done. And you've got so much more complete measurements in there. You've got everything and it's ready to go. You're not having to calculate anything. It's doing all your calculations for you. Right here, we're taking a look at performance. 4.92 tons, 59,062 BTUs with a 20-degree split, but we've got high subcooling. And I know what's going on with that. That's a matter of having a little bit of a cold liquid line. If I just bump that up right there, we're back in business and we're good. So this is just demonstration information, but that's how fast everything gets pulled up. You have all your information set, you've got your target set, your your saturation temperatures on both the low side and the high side, your superheat and subcooling, and then scrolling across, there's your targets. And as you can see, where we had our targets on that first setup page, if we needed to change this, say that this was you're working on a train unit, and your target subcooling is 8, we would simply go in our bar menu, and we'd go up here to edit the current profile. Tap edit current profile, scroll down to our target data, and as you can see on our target subcooling, we need to put an 8 in there. We put the 8 in, and we go up here to our best friend up here again, submit. We tag in submit. There's our subcooling target. That is adjustable. And now, as you can see, our subcooling is high again. So this will show you exactly what's going on as far as the system goes. Now, remember this, you can also use as little or as much of the system as you want. So if you guys have questions right now, just go on and go into your chat, and you can post questions right there, and we'll try and get to those as soon as we can. Let's see here. All right. So as a lot of people were asking about, they said, how do I use it if I just need to go in and I just want to do a standard pressures and temperatures. It'd go the same way that you use your regular analog set of gauges, except you'd have everything right there on your smart device. It's simply power on, low side, high side, suction line, liquid line temperature, pull it up. I'll take the other temperatures out of the equation and show you what we got. Just so you can see how easy it actually is. We're going to take the air side out. I'm sorry, but out of trying to take this out of demo information, it wouldn't let me do it. I apologize. But taking that out, taking the air side out, it won't establish your targets because you need both supply and return air temperatures to establish your targets on your pressures. You need both of those. But as far as your superheat and subcooling targets, those will establish. You'll put those in. If it is a fixed orifice, straight cool system, it'll range your superheat, and it'll go ahead and calculate it up for you. Let's see here. We got a question on chat. Bill, are you on there as well?
Yeah, Eric, I am. I had it covered up. I'm with you. So yeah, we have a question here. He said this is from Tim Wright, and he said that we haven't been getting all DL temps. We get insufficient compressor cooling. Is that a must?
Now, if you're working on low temp systems, either way, on air conditioning or that, it's not a necessity. Discharge line temperature, we use it mainly for troubleshooting. With high discharge line temperature, there's always going to be some sort of there'll be a restriction that's causing that. You got low discharge line temperature, you've got liquid refrigerant going through, bad valves or something like that. But it's definitely not a necessity to be using it. It aids in troubleshooting, definitely. But your compressor, if you have inefficient compressor cooling, mostly that's going to be about probe placement. So take a look where you're placing your probes as far as your suction line, your liquid line temperatures. Take a look at that, because if you have your your liquid line temperature is getting too close to compressor, you're mainly leaning over towards discharge line temperature rather than liquid line temperature. You know, depending upon where you're picking up your suction line temperature. You know, it's just depending if you have a receiver or not. Probe placement is everything. So, you know, keep an eye on your probe placement. Just use it the same way you would on a standard analog setup. Don't change any of that up. But just take a look at where best placement of that probe is. Make sure that the line is clean. Take a little bit of take a 3M pad, clean up that line just a hair, place that probe on there, and pull that temperature from there then. But definitely it's usually a problem with probe placement. Now, if you keep getting that, but everything seems to be running well, you've got a good split, temperature's cold, you know, coming out of the vents, you know, if you got 55-degree supply air, 75-degree return air, and everything seems to be going well, but it keeps telling you that, you probably have a bad probe placement. And right up here in that troubleshooting, and a lot of people like to see it, some people don't. So you can always turn that off simply by going into your gear side menu, open up tools, and turn troubleshooting off, and you won't see that. So a lot of guys like it, a lot of guys, they don't. So a lot of differences in there. But as you can see, it's very simple and very quick to attain measurements and everything else with your iManifold or iConnect. So as far as it being more productive, if you can get out to a job, just take a look at the system that you're working on, and you don't need to produce any type of a report to either email your customer, send back to your home office or anything like that. It will work just like any set of gauges. This puts out any bit of information that you need. I'm going to go ahead and put measurements back in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this out. And we're going to do this just like we started up on a system. We just came out to the job site. We've gauged up. We've turned on our probes. We open up our iManifold. In the time that I'm going to take to get demo data in, that's about as much time as it takes to power the thing up. And actually, this is more time than it takes for you to press the button and connect to your iManifold. Demo data, confirm, and there you go. We're getting our pressures, we're getting our temperatures, everything that we've already hooked up. And like I said, this is just going the same way as if you hooked up a standard analog setup. Select your profile. You take a look at the nameplates, you know what you're working on. We go over here to our bar side menu, open it up, go to equipment profiling, come down and select our profile. 13 to 16 SEER heat pump, cooling 410A TXV. Now we just made that profile just a second ago. You can make as many of these profiles as you want. Now, in all actuality, it's only going to take you about maybe 8 different profiles for you to get along and do business, you know, as usual, anytime. You've got R22, you've got 410A, you've got different efficiencies, whether it's a 13 to 16, if it's a 12 SEER, 10 SEER unit, the different metering devices. So you'll have maybe 8 profiles in there, and then selecting your tonnage is the only other thing that you have to select. Like I said, on this, we open up equipment profiling. I see my profile right here. I select it. It's making my calculations for that particular unit. Now I go back to my bar menu, simple touch of a button, measurements, airflow and nominal tonnage, and I select 5 tons. The only reason that there was a 3 already put in there is because this is demonstration data. I change it up to a 5. Next, go up here to submit, tap it, and now I'm reading everything that my 5-ton unit that I came over here to work on is producing. It's very simple, very easy. You can be very productive. Once you enter in, it's just a matter of getting used to putting in these profiles. Put them into the system, selecting the proper profile, put in tonnage. Now, if you're not doing anything, like I said, with as far as needing to do full performance, you don't have to do it. Use as much of the system as you want. Use as little of the system as you want. But if you want to do a complete analysis, you have all that in the palm of your hand. At any time, also on this side over here, you've got your 3-bar menu, open that up, and there's also this nice little tab here, System Performance. If you don't want to do a full-blown report, a lot of guys don't want to do that because they say, I want to get in that job and out of that job. Fine. Make them productive, let them work. But this System Performance tab, it will give them all that information. Whatever is hooked up, all that data is going to be set up and displayed on here. Really makes it nice, very easy. Speed, if you want to talk about productivity and making that money, if your technician can get in, get the job done correctly, and get out quickly and accurately, that's one of the things too. Everybody gets in a rush. They miscalculate things about their temperatures and everything else. That's when mistakes are made, and that's where callbacks come into play. Callbacks are expensive. Get it done right the first time. If you're doing a complete system analysis, it's not going to take you but a couple minutes more than a standard hookup because it's just the fact of putting in a simple return and supplier probe to get that much more data and information. That gives you an upsell. There's another thing. If you find out that you get a airflow issue, which it'll point out, if you don't have 400 or 350 or 450 CFM per ton, whatever your area kind of needs, you'll be able to spot it and you'll be able to make that correction, make that customer happy, make that customer comfortable, make you some more money in your pocket. And also, that's the best advertisement in the world. Hey, this guy came out, he just took a look at something. He pointed out that I had a duct issue. You know, I needed to upsize my return. They fixed that up. Now this thing's blowing perfectly. I'm comfortable, I'm happy. They're going to tell everybody. And that's the best advertisement in the world, is word of mouth. So with that, there's more business that comes your way. And that's a constant. The more that word of mouth advertisement, the better. That's the best advertisement out there. It's just simply people sharing their great experience and the money they saved and the comfort that they have.
Yeah, you know, that's really true. Earlier this week, I had 2 people. I picked up the phone. A guy in California, a guy in Tennessee said, I really want this because I can definitely show my customer what the tonnage is that they just bought when we installed their new unit. And so you have real-time output of what the unit's doing. You can walk over to the customer and say, here it is. Now, we all know that a unit won't put out the rated output at a given temperature, but you know, you can certainly demonstrate to people and show them in a chart if you need to that their unit is putting out what it should per the manufacturer's specification. That's a big deal.
Well, absolutely.
It really is.
And, you know, just being able to navigate in between all those points of data, being able to take a look at everything and not having to manually calculate things and have it done on the spot. Your ambient air temperature with our probes, taking it right there at the condenser, as we were talking about that when we were first, you know, coming into this this webinar, was about the charge. Getting an accurate charge. The accuracy of the system. You know, this accuracy is a point that should not be overlooked. If you're using good sensors, yes, good sensors cost a little bit of money.
Yeah, they do.
The accuracy that you get, you don't have that foul up to where, you know, well, we deviate between 7%, you know, 4 to 7%, where, you know, a good accurate sensor is within 1%. So you're not going to have that deviation about where you're taking, you know, if you're taking your ambient air temperature where it should be, out there by the condenser, get true air condenser temperature over there, you can get that charge pinpointed, and you're not going to have that overcharge or undercharge issue later on. You know, that makes a big difference, because Your customer's going to be a lot happier that he's not calling you up and saying, hey, my system's not operating properly. It's cooling, but not that cool. Or in the wintertime, if you've got a heat pump, this thing's it's not cooling. I mean, it's not heating. It's always an issue of an overcharge or an undercharge. This lets you pinpoint. And on these newer systems nowadays that are coming out, these higher efficiency systems, they're a lot more charge sensitive because they're using smaller amounts of charge. They're using big condensers and less refrigerant. So that charge of that refrigerant is very critical because they're sucking every bit of BTUs in that small amount of refrigerant all the way around. So that's what makes those charges very critical.
Yeah, and the iConnect with the short hoses, and when you use the T's for removing or putting in refrigerant, you're only working with 6 inches. It's way less loss no matter what you do. And to Eric's point, I spoke to several manufacturers, and everybody's starting to move to microchannel because it's more efficient. They're getting higher EERs, SEER ratings, and so that's a fact of life that you can't expect that you can get refrigerant charge close. You got to kind of get it right. So
absolutely, it's becoming a critical thing, amongst all these manufacturers all the way around. The variable speed, I mean, you just put it on, depending upon the system, they've got it to where it's called charge mode, where you slip this thing into charge mode, and that way it's run at full capacity. So you can get the charge proper, it's run at full capacity. That's where you're going to pinpoint your charge. Now, these systems that are running at half mast, these variable rate systems, you're going to have to charge those things at full capacity to get it proper. So there's a lot of things entailed about it. You just got to watch what the manufacturer suggests. Read those directions. They're there for a reason. With these new systems, it gets a little bit tricky, but always, they're going to be charged at full capacity. And some of the systems, they have, like I said, they've got charge mode where the thing just kicks it in high gear all the way around. That way you can make your accurate charge there, and you should be solid from there on out.
Yeah. Travis Kaiser is the technical support for Coleman, which you saw in our press release that they're accepting our reports for their commissioning. And I'm beginning to understand how important that is to them, to the manufacturer, to get that data to make sure that their equipment's been installed properly. Their new units are variable speed compressors and variable speed fans. And of course, that new unit you can see has an actual charge display on it. So it shows the state of charge. Yep. But yet they realize that you have to have tools that do it correctly at the initial install. So that's why we're getting good support there.
Absolutely. And I mean, these new pieces of equipment that almost have onboard diagnostics, they show, temperatures and pressures and things like that. Well, when you use almost a reference set of gauges like what we have, we've got highly accurate. Our sensors are second to none. I mean, we've got the most accurate sensors out there. So if there's any differential, you've got lead behind sensors, which of course they're not going to spend a whole lot of money putting a lead behind sensor to sit there on a system. So sure, it says it, but is it really what it is? No, it's not. It's just like your tire pressure monitors on your vehicles. Exactly. You got low tire pressure, it's within, this much of a range, where our tolerances, from their tolerances to this, our tolerances are like this. So there's a big difference there as far as the accuracy goes. So onboard diagnostics, I mean, they're great to have and everything else, but I mean, are they pinpoint spot on? No, they're not.
So we've got 10 minutes left. And if anyone out there, Tim, we hope that we answered your question related to discharge line temperature. Does anybody else have any other questions that we can answer? We'd love to help you out.
Something that I could offer to do, Eric, if you'd like a couple minutes here. I could show you a sneak preview of our new return on investment calculator. Would you like me to go through that?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's take a look at that. So this calculator here, for anybody watching, you've got a company in here, and you want to take a look at what the iManifold can bring back to you. First off, right up here on the top, you'll take a look and you'll select the kit that you're looking at. Now, most kits are going to be 916Cs, 915Ms, whatever kit that you select. The most popular that we have out there is the 916C iConnect. And you go down the line here, and as you can see, on hourly wages, there's a little I right there. So if you're not sure what the question is, you can pop that little I. It's going to tell you, this is going to be, the median wage for your technicians, installers, whatever it might be. If you're going to put these things in the hands of technicians and installers, you can gauge that out to an average there. The total number of service contracts, depending upon how many customers you service with service contracts. I mean, some of them are in the few thousands, some of them are 100. It just all depends on on what you service. So this ROI calculator, this does not come back to us. We're not looking at it going, oh my gosh, this guy's doing a ton of business or this guy's not doing anything. This is just FYI. That's for your information. Nobody's looking at this. So I mean, the cost of callbacks, we just put a small number in here. Some people think that callbacks are $100. And then you take a look at most callbacks out there. There's been a lot of articles written about callbacks, and I've seen them as much as $1,650 for a callback. So if you've got 5 or 6 callbacks per month, which a lot of people have more than that, that's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money to be just thrown out there. Just saving that amount of callbacks, as you can see on here. When we're almost eliminating callbacks, if we can drop from 10 callbacks down to 2 callbacks, that's a whole lot of money per month. But putting in your cost per callback, number of trucks in your business. Now, number of trucks in the business are going to be your technicians and your installers, depending upon who you're going to have running with iManifolds or iConnects. Your retention rate on your service contracts. Say in 2016, I had 2,000 service contracts. Well, at the beginning of 2017, I lost, 700 of them. That's your retention rate. You're going to drop down. Well, I retained only 80% of my service contracts. And of course, there's what you want to do is what's the improvement? What do you want to see? And that's down a couple of lines. Now, equipment sales. This is the profit, your average profits that you're going to make off an equipment sale. Say your cost on the equipment is $3,500, and you're basically selling it for $7,500, just your basic average profit on new equipment sales. So you put all this when you go down to the bottom, and let me see here.
This section, Eric, is the improvements possible with the new iManifold system.
Yeah.
So these are the changes to your planned business.
Okay. So new service contracts per truck. And this is on annual, or is this monthly?
This is annual.
Annual. So new service contracts per truck annually. I mean, if somebody can't get 6 contracts in a year, that's a very light number, but that's up to you. How many, I don't know if you as an owner would say that I need to have, 3 new service contracts out of you guys per month, that's per truck. So, that just all depends on you. So that'd be 36 new contracts, out there on each truck. the retention rate, well, we're going to go from 80 to 95%. That's what we want. And then your annual equipment sales per year per truck, depending upon how your operation works, whether you have your service technicians doing sales as well, or if you have a designated sales team. So when the serviceman goes out, he does what he needs to do, but the system's really getting old, and you want to talk about options. Well, your service guys, a lot of companies just want their service guys to go out to the next job. Hey, let me send a salesman over to you to talk about your options. Fine and dandy. So that will reflect upon that. Then how many callbacks per year per truck? So if you've got one truck that does, one callback a month, but you've got 6 trucks out there, that's quite a few callbacks out there. You're going to throw that in. That's where the calculation come into how much per callback that you're estimating. And once you tap that nice little button of calculate, and you scroll down and take a look, payback in months. 1 month would do that on there. And that was how many technicians? That was 6, correct?
Yes.
So you get the real numbers there. Those real numbers are because you're entering those numbers. So answer it honestly and take a look at your bottom line there and see what kind of money you'll save. And actually, after saving on the callbacks that you used to just say, I had a decent month, it's been a decent, better month, last month was better, this and that. You start eliminating those callbacks, and that's where money starts rolling in and getting into your pocket. Being able to do more jobs per day, each technician, more productive each time. That's what we went over today, because there was just some things that I heard, down the line, and, these guys that were saying, hey, help me out, help me streamline how to use your system the best. And so we've helped them out. I said, tell me how you work, what your steps are when you go up to a system and take a look. When the customer says, I'm having an issue, I'm blowing warm air, just doesn't seem that I'm getting a whole lot of airflow. However you want to approach that system, you can use just the air probes, see what the supply and return temperature is. Just using the air probes and putting in the profile with the nominal tonnage, you'll be able to get a performance rate. You're not going to have any temperatures or suction line, your superheat subcooling, things like that, but you'll be able to see what we're doing on supply and return and putting in that tonnage profile and everything else, and you'll be able to get performance out of that. So it's really, really nice. You don't always have to gauge up on the system. So with all this in play, it actually is a lot faster, a lot more efficient to do it with a whole lot more information. You've got so much upselling you can do knowing all this information. Everything's calculated for you. So speed is the key, and speed is what this will deliver.
Well, great.
So, that's pretty much all I got for this today. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out, contact us, put it up on Tech Talk, call us on the phone. 716-699-2031, and select option number 1. And one of us will be happy to, if it's during business hours, we'll be happy to talk to you about it if you have any questions at all.
Great. Thank you, Eric. You did a great job as usual. And Lori, thank you. And thank you all for attending. And we look forward to seeing you all on the other side of August. Have a great rest of your summer. You'll all be working like crazy. That's the business, but have a great one, and looking forward to seeing you then in September. And don't forget, please let us know when you would like to see these, because we're really interested to get it right for you. Thank you.
And also, let me add in something real quick. If you want to take a look at the profiling videos, those are available online. Most of our old webinars that we had, these trainings, they are available online. Just go to iManifold.com, go to news, select virtual training, and you'll see the dates, and select whatever you want to watch all over again. And like I said, we're always here to support. You just give us a call, email us, however you want to do it. we'll be happy to get back with you ASAP.
Great.
Thank you,
Thanks again,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you
Have a
all.
great weekend. Goodbye.
Bye.